So today we're going to look at accessory structures of the skin. So parts that are found that deal with the skin. And the first one that we'll talk about is nails. So nails are protective coverings, your fingernails and toenails. They consist of a nail plate and then stratified squamous epithelial cells overlying the nailed bed. The lanula is the most actively growing part of the nail root. So fingernail, toenail. Same thing. As they grow, they die. So when you clip your fingernails, it doesn't hurt. I could take this right now and tear off a part of my fingernail, and that does not hurt one bit because those cells are dead. However, if I take my entire fingernail and rip it off my finger, that's going to hurt because the living, growing region is the nail root. Same thing with your hair. You get a haircut, that's not painful, but if someone jerks out a large amount of hair, that hurts because you're pulling it out of the bed or where it's actually growing from. So as the new cells are produced on the bottom, older ones are pushed out and they become keratinized again, which means they're dying, they're drying out, and they become dead cells. Here you can look at the picture. And so here, the little lanula is the lighter colored part down at the bottom. Cuticles, this is what you might have pushed back. I have never had a manicure, but I know that they push back on the cuticles. The nail bed then actually sits underneath of the nail. And that's where it's going to hurt if your nail gets removed from the bed. The nail plate then is just the part that comes over the top. And notice it does reach back and go further under your cuticle and back into your skin. So nails, on the top part that you see is mostly dead cells. Hair, very much similar, can be found almost everywhere on your skin. Palms, soles, lips, nipples, portions of genitalia. You're not going to find hair in certain areas, but for the most part, your entire body is covered with hair. Talked about the reason your palms and soles don't have hair or very little hair is because of friction. You are constantly using them. It is rubbed. There's not a chance for hair to grow. Even the tops of your arms are going to have more hair than the bottom. So each hair, every individual hair develops from epithelial stem cells at the bottom called the hair follicle. And we'll look at a picture of that. So the follicle is what holds that hair. And the dermis, the dermal layer, contains the root of your hair. And then it's going to come up through the epidermis and out. Here again, new cells are formed at the base. They're going to grow and be pushed out. As they come out, they keratinize, they die, and you have dead cells. Big myth. If I get my hair cut regularly, will my hair grow faster and better? No. The only way you can make your hair grow faster is good nutrition, maybe something at the base in the scalp, because the hair is going to grow from the inside out. Anything you do on the outside of your hair does not make your hair grow faster. It might have less split ends and look healthier, but it's not going to grow faster. My hair and nails grew the fastest when I was pregnant because why? Prenatal vitamins are a big boost and they make your hair and nails grow really fast. Leah?
Okay, I saw this thing on YouTube. Well, I've been doing it, but basically you put your head down, basically go upside down for like I think 4 minutes, and then it'll like remove all the oils and stuff, and it'll make your hair grow in like an inch in like a week. And it actually
I've
worked
never
for me.
heard that.
It worked for
The
me.
only thing I can think of is that if you do that, it's gonna bring more blood supply to your
Yeah,
head.
yeah, that too.
And that might possibly help it to grow a little bit faster. The oils, you need oil in your hair. If you had no oil in your hair would like stand straight out. So all hair has oil that's going to hold it and keep it down. So here, back to the diagram. Now we're just kind of looking at one part of it. Down here is where cell division occurs. This is the living part of your hair. Notice this is where the blood vessels are at. So if my cells are dividing, it's going to need a blood supply. The hair follicle is the region around the hair. And then usually there's a little bulge, a hair bulge, on the side by your muscles. The hair root is the bottom part of the hair. The hair shaft then is where it comes out. And there are glands alongside of the hair that produce those oils. Hair color determined by genetics. Here again, melanin is responsible for most of your hair color. Dark hair has eumelanin, which is a darker colored melanin, where blondes and redheads have pheomelanin, which is more of the reddish yellow color. But it is controlled by melanocytes just like your skin color is. Lack of melanin causes albinos. Has anybody ever seen? I do know one of the nearby colonies in our area did have an albino. I have not seen them, but it is something that can be genetic and passed on from one person to another, or it can be a mutation that just shows up for no apparent reason. The erector pili muscles are the little muscles that attach close to each hair, and those muscles are going to give you goosebumps when you're cold or when you get scared and your hair stands up. So those little erector pili muscles generate a lot of heat when you're cold. Skin glands are different type of glands. Make sure you know the difference between these. Sebaceous glands are holocrine. They're going to lose entire cells. They are associated with hair. They produce sebum, which you may hear on hair commercials possibly. They waterproof, moisturize the hair. This is a fairly thick oil. If you have oily hair, it's probably the sebaceous glands that are causing that. Sweat glands, pseudoauriferous, smelly, pseudoauriferous glands are merocrine glands. So they're not going to release entire cells. They are going to leave through a pore that's actually at the top of the skin. Sebaceous glands are basically going to secrete right at the bottom of the hair, where sweat glands actually come to the surface. There's two kinds of sweat glands. Eccrine, which respond to body temperature. So these are, I'm working out, I'm sweating, my eccrine glands are going to produce sweat all over my body. Apocrine glands become more active at puberty. These are the ones that are going to produce more of the odor. So a lot of your sweat, you know, like when your arms sweat, your arms don't get all that smelly. It is the armpit area that becomes more odorous because of the apocrine glands. They also respond to body temperature and stress. Some people have an abundance of apocrine sweat glands. Some people actually have a condition where, you know, like they have excessive armpit sweat. There is clinical deodorant for that. So apocrine are most numerous in the axilla, armpit, and groin area. Cereminous glands secrete your earwax, and that's specifically what they do. So that is actually a sidekick, a modified sweat gland that actually produces your earwax. And last one, mammary glands. Milk is actually considered a modified sweat gland. So that is another secretion that is basically broken off and produced in the same way as sweat glands. And that's the same diagram. I'm not going to go over that again. And that's where I'm going to stop. That diagram, I'm not going to discuss it again, but make sure you know the parts of that diagram.